What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Adam. It is a weekend of exhaustion, the usual. It's July 13th. I don't even know why I tell you what day it is when I record these things, but uh, I'm watching the Tour de France right now, and I just finished stage 5 last night. Started on stage 6. I woke up this morning. I watched a little bit of stage 6. It's starting to get a little bit exciting to watch. It's not 4 hours of boring followed by an hour of action. It's starting to become nonstop action. But today they're racing in stage 9, and I'm watching stage 6. So it's kind of like when you guys watch my videos, some of you were getting all jaded because they weren't up to the minute and as close to live as possible. And I'm like, okay, when I was homeless, I had a goal. I set a goal when I was homeless. Once I started putting some videos up, I made it a goal to do one every day. But it could have been 15 minutes. And the goal was just hold the camera in front of me, talk for a few minutes, hit the upload button, and be done with it. I'm putting just a little bit more effort into these daily updates, semi-daily updates. But in order for me to put a video up every day, I have to record a bunch of stuff and then sit down in front of a computer for a few hours at a time and put all the stuff up there at once and go through the process of there's things you have to do before you make it go live, especially if you want it to help you gain traction on your channel and do something for it. So the last video was recorded on Friday. I didn't do anything yesterday. I was exhausted. Friday, I had 3 annoyances, just problems. And it was kind of like this, if you remember the last video, I talked about how when I forget to pray in the morning, about just God, come with me today, guide my steps, put me where you want me to go, help me accomplish whatever it is you want me to accomplish, etc., etc. I do this on my way into. One of the things about riding a bicycle 25 miles to and from this bakery job is I have a lot of time to just sit and think, talk to the good Lord, pass the time. An hour and 40 minutes each way. So you're looking at now I'm at 3.5 hours of cycling every time I go to the bakery and work. So 8 hours, 9, 10, 11 and a half hours plus time getting ready. It's like a 13-hour day every time I go in there. Yesterday was no exception with the prayers. So Friday, I'll start there. Friday, I washed 2 loads of laundry, and when I started using the spin cycle side of the washing machine, it died. It just straight up died like that. There was no warning that something was wrong. There was no it stopped working. And so I had sopping wet clothes to dry. And when I came home from work yesterday, they were dry. The remaining clothes were everything's dry as of yesterday when I came home. And probably the only reason for that is because I bought a fan. And the fan was delivered on the same day as the laundry. And so the fan actually helped. So the washing machine died on Friday. And then the 2 other small annoyances were Walmart. I did my online grocery delivery, and right at the last minute, they're like, oh, no rotisserie chicken. So I was hoping to have that for dinner. And I had to have cheese and crackers instead. cheese crackers. I had some smoked pepper, cracked pepper turkey breast that was really good, really good. So I was fine with that. And then the Amazon, I had to order some of the items that I ordered on my, payday Amazon haul were they told me all this stuff was going to come same day delivery, and here I'm in the delivery window and it hadn't even been marked shipped yet. So I'm like, well, it's not going to show up today. And it wasn't like nothing in that list except for the fan was like critical for me to get that day. But the fan was the one thing that would help me because of the washing machine being broke. So anyway, I recorded a video. Some of you will say I was bitching and moaning, but I wasn't. I'm just sharing what goes on. And not every day is going to be sunshine and rainbows, especially in this situation that I'm in. And so, anyway, I prayed about it. It's bright and sunny out today, and I'm hearing thunder, like house shaking thunder, and I have to work on the bicycles today, and I don't have the energy to go outside and clean. The Silver Bullet don't need cleaned, but the Red Rocket's covered in spray from riding. I have not gotten wet riding in the rain, but the paths and streets are wet enough that I'm kicking up dirt and getting it into, the bike is covered in dirt. And so it needs a cleanup. It needs a little bit of cleaning. And so I don't know if that's going to happen today. I don't know. I've got so much stuff to do today. And that's kind of what I prayed about before I turned on this video camera, was just, Lord, help me get past feeling overwhelmed and just help me accomplish whatever it is you want me to accomplish today. I didn't wake up. I did not get up out of bed until it was like 10:30 in the morning, closing in on 11. So I've only been up for a couple hours, and I spent the first hour and change watching the Tour de France. Just energy-wise, yesterday's bike ride home was a bit slower. I didn't have any gas in the tank, just little tiny stretches of having gas in the tank. The morning ride was actually pretty fast. I had a lot of good results. I got chased by a bunch of old people and riding in a group. I passed them right at the junction where you get on one of the bicycle trails, and then I looked behind me, and they were way, way back behind me. And so I probably eased off on my speed, but they were probably talking to each other like, let's catch this guy. Like, you do that stuff when you're out there to push yourself a little harder. All of a sudden I turn around and I'm like, oh my God, here's all these old people catching up to me. Yeah, the thunder here is loud. It's bright and sunny out. Yet, ba-boom every few minutes. So there's something on the way. It's been non-stop thunderstorms every day for the last month. Every single day there's been at least one. But once again, I haven't gotten caught out in it on my bicycle. So, I'll talk about that more in a bit. It's distracting whenever I hear ba-boom while I'm sitting here talking. I lose my train of thought. So, yeah, just feeling like I got too much to do is the main thing going on right now. It's a better problem to have than what I was feeling when I was living in that tool shed in that ridiculous situation with that scumbag slumlord and all his bullshit. I feel so much better now. I don't know, man. Speaking of, let's see if he put the ad back up on Craigslist. Housing? Nope. I do not see his ad on Craigslist. So I'm wondering if he rented it out to somebody finally and just didn't put the ad back up. It's kind of weird. I think he would have put the ad back up after having his ad get flagged if he didn't rent it out by now. Either way, I don't care. I just thought about it because I was talking about it. So I'm trying to remember. I pray about my day when I go into the bakery on that bike ride to the bakery. Sometimes before I leave the house, I think about it. But on the days where I'm home, I don't always think about it. I slept in today. There was no possible way of going to church today. Sometime last night, I was so tired and sore, and my body just gets wrecked from this bike riding. It really is time for me to rest. All right, oh man. Woo, here we go. I still don't see lightning. I don't know if I need to unplug my laptop. I probably can for a while. It's starting. Yeah, let's just see what happens. It's not raining. It's just, I don't know. People are telling me the weather's not normal here right now. You know, we just had all that flooding. People have been reaching out to me to see if I'm okay. We're not getting floods here in Houston, not like that. But, you know, we're talking about, people have been arguing with me, calling me a conspiracy theorist about weather modification and whether they are manipulating our weather. And then they're like, that's a conspiracy theory. They don't manipulate the weather. They can't do that. Yet, you can watch TV shows, you can watch TV news reports, and you can read all kinds of news reports where they talk about 20 different ways under the sun that they manipulate our weather. It's a fact. But when you show these things to the people that call you a conspiracy theorist, they won't even look at it. They won't even look at it and consider the possibility that they're a fucking retard for calling you a conspiracy theorist. And so I just see this post a couple of days ago and I bookmarked it for whenever it would come up on these videos. But weather modification company CEO admits cloud seeding operations were conducted in the Texas Hill Country 2 days before the deadly flood, but Augustus Dorico, CEO of Rainmaker, so there's a fucking company that makes rain, that claims his release of silver iodide into the atmosphere did not cause the deadly floods. Dorico says the two clouds that he seeded would have dissipated after a few hours and would have had no effect on the floods several days later. Though the technique has been studied for decades, it remains difficult to predict the additional rainfall that cloud seeding operations can generate, with estimates ranging widely from 0 to 20%. So much rain fell that the Guadalupe River in Kerrville, one of the epicenters of the floods, rose 26 feet in less than an hour overnight on Friday. So yeah, people will, if you talk about weather modification, people will call you a conspiracy theorist. And I'm not listening, fuck you, you conspiracy theorist. And there's a company called Rainmaker, and this company makes it rain. Who knows? Maybe they're out flying right now above my fucking house. I mean, and this is not the only thing. If you ever watched the show Top Gear, you can look this up. It's easy to find. Jeremy Clarkson did a segment of the Top Gear show where he was standing in front of a machine, this gigantic thing that's like one of the loudest noises, decibel-wise, that the human ear could hear. And it was this big giant machine that makes clouds. It shoots clouds into the air in order to make it rain somewhere where they needed rain or something like that. I don't know exactly what, but this is I believe it's in the United States, and I believe that, I can't remember where it is, I don't know. You can look this up just from what I told you. Go to YouTube, type in Top Gear, Jeremy Clarkson, rain machine. It'd probably find 10 results of this video. But they don't manipulate the weather. Not at all. No. Conspiracy theory. Here's another post. Here's the actual CEO of Rainmaker posted on X. Did Rainmaker conduct any operations that could have impacted the floods? And no. The last seeding mission, cloud seeding. Cloud seeding, they've been cloud seeding since forever. Back in the Vietnam War, one of the tactics that the Americans used was cloud seeding. So they would make it rain on the Viet Cong so that the Viet Cong couldn't move their vehicles through the jungle. They would make the jungle so muddy, and they ruined the landscape, not only with the Agent Orange to take all the leaves. They basically used Roundup. But Monsanto, when you buy Roundup and you spray that shit in your yard, in your garden and whatever, you're spraying Agent Orange all over the place. But they call it Roundup now because they gave it all they ever did, they changed the branding so that you wouldn't, if they put Agent Orange on the package, no one would have bought it. But they call it Roundup, Chica, and now everybody's like, now you're spraying Agent Orange in your garden because, they told you in the news that Agent Orange gives you cancer, so we'll call it Roundup now. So anyway, they sprayed Roundup all over the jungle of Vietnam to take the leaves off the trees so they'd have nowhere to hide. And then they made it rain by you doing this cloud seeding shit. And they completely ruined the landscape to ruin all of the dirt roads and the trails, and they made it flood everywhere, and they washed out, they washed neighborhoods out. Like, they completely decimated the landscape there. And that was one of the things that they did. So anyway, this guy, the last seeding mission prior to the July 4th event was during the early afternoon of July 2nd, when a brief cloud seeding mission was flown over the eastern portions of south central Texas, and 2 clouds were seeded. These clouds persisted for about 2 hours after seeding before dissipating between 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Natural clouds would have had lifespans of 30 minutes to a few hours at most, with even the most persistent storm systems rarely maintaining the same cloud structure for more than 12 to 18 hours. The clouds that were seeded on July 2nd dissipated over 24 hours prior to the developing storm complex that would produce the flooding rainfall. So basically, all these people died, and now they want this guy's head on a plate. And now he's got to go on the defensive and, no, we didn't do it. We didn't kill all those kids. We didn't do it. We didn't do it. But the only point I'm making here is that when people talk about weather modification, I was looking at the video here and it just got dark. But it's because there's no more sun outside, and so you're just seeing the light from my screen. When you talk about the fact that they can modify the weather, and people call you a fucking conspiracy theorist, the thing is, I could show these people that call me a conspiracy theorist all the different examples, hours worth of material. There's a weather modification treaty with the United Nations where all of these countries have so supposedly agreed not to use their weather modification weapons against each other. But how would you know? In some case, some of the things that they can do are not as apparent as flying planes around. But then you talk about like, oh, they're not spraying chemicals in the sky to make these chemtrails that people talk about. Oh, that's a conspiracy theory. Oh, but then they tell us, the CEO of the Rainmaker company talks about, well, we do fly planes in the sky and we spray all this shit in the sky to make it rain. Like, that's why if you call me a conspiracy theorist, I'm instantly gonna think you're nothing but a fucking low information retard, and I'm gonna have no respect for you at all, none. Whether you do it through the comments on YouTube or face to face, anybody who calls me a conspiracy theorist is off my list of people who I want to associate with, because you're a useless human being who has you're useless. I don't want you around during the end times, because you're just going to be a useless mouth to feed at the survival camp. You know what I mean? You're probably still going to be calling everybody a conspiracy theorist when you're living in a fucking concentration camp waiting for your turn to get your gas shower. So, whatever, dude. So back to the weather. The thunder has got me thinking about the weather, and people were reaching out to me to see if I'm okay. I'm fine. For now, they haven't made it flood here in Houston. I don't know, maybe the Rainmaker planes are going by this week. Maybe it'll happen here next. I don't know. I do live pretty close to a river, or a creek, a major creek, and a fairly major river. I can tell you, living in Pittsburgh, I've seen a few floods, and I've seen what happens when the river is 30 feet above normal. I was out on the middle of the Allegheny River once when it was at flood stage, and me and a friend were like, let's go canoeing. Fucking, because we're like, fuck it, man. We don't want, we're still going canoeing this weekend. Who cares? But that wasn't like 30 feet above normal flooding. That was just running high. The power of a flood I've seen it. I remember in Pittsburgh, the river was 30 feet above normal, and I was taking pictures of a parking lot in the north side where you could see exhaust stacks sticking up from semi-trucks out of the water, because the semi-trucks were completely buried and all you could see were the exhaust stacks sticking up out of the water. And it was in the middle of winter, so it was covered with ice on top of that. And now, I was in art school during that. That was like in 1995, the winter, probably January, February 96, somewhere around there. We had a big flood, and we've had a few others, but that was a big one. I think the river was more than 30 feet above normal, and it covered it. There's a lot of places that plan for this in Pittsburgh, because it's not a matter of if it's going to happen, it's just a matter of when. And so there's a lot of buildings and stuff that are designed for that, because it's coming. It may not be for 10 years, but in a span of 20 years, that thing's going to be underwater. You know it is. There are neighborhoods that get wiped out on the floodplains by the rivers there, and then they just rebuild them. And it's like, you know, maybe you don't want to rebuild your fucking house again so that it can be flooded away in the next 10 to 20 years. I don't know, maybe you'd not want to rebuild it for the 15th time. But I don't know, don't listen to me. The power of a flood, though. Me and my friend were floating down the Allegheny River on a canoe, and aside from the water being high and some other inconveniences and whatnot, like when we pulled over to get out of the boat, the place where you normally pull out was underwater. But you know, that kind of stuff. We just basically pulled up to a staircase that would normally have led down to a spot of land to pull the boat up onto and then walk up the stairs. We just pulled up to the stairs, but we didn't have a way to tie the boat up. So we had to go down the river a little bit and find a place where we could at least, I think somebody sat in the boat and held on to some weeds on the side of the river while the other one went and got beer and then came back. I don't remember, but a lot of little inconveniences. But when we were floating to the island that we were about to camp on, we're getting close to where we're planning on camping for the night. There's islands in the middle of the river, and they're perfect campsites. It's public land, you can just pull up and camp on them. We're floating down the river, and we see this tree just go, a fully grown adult tree. It's probably 60 years old. This tree just went, and the water just took it away. I mean, we watched this tree just get uprooted, ripped out of the ground, fall into the river, and just go floating down the river. And my friend turns around and goes, "Where are we camping tonight?" And I was like, "You see that tree that just got yanked out of the dirt and taken down the river?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "That's where we're camping." Oh, okay. And so we get to the island, and where you would normally, there's like a gravel beach, I would call it, where you would normally pull up your boat, drag it out of the river, and then go up and camp. That was gone. There are different campsites set up on this island, but all of the lower campsites were gone. They were just gone. They were all underwater, and so we had to weave our way through some trees and stuff to get further into the island before there was land above the water. But there were campsites there, the stone rings and that people have made, and so there was a ready-made place for us to camp. But we pulled the boat out of the water and put it up near us on the high ground. But we kind of left the canoe sitting upright just in case, because we're like, is this going to get any worse? Is this river going to keep going up, or is this... I think we kind of looked at the reports of the water levels and the predicted water levels and all that, and it wasn't supposed to rain, and this was like a controlled release, but they were, they had to let the water go because the reservoir was getting too full. It was kind of like that. Oh, here's the rain. So there we go. Can't take my bike outside and wash it off. I could have this morning, but that's out. So we camped for the night. No, nothing eventful. It was fine. If anything, I would say the next morning when we woke up, the water had gone down a bit, and you could see one of the lower campsites was now uncovered and visible, so that was a good sign. But there was one time during the next day's river, we didn't want to go down this one side channel around this one island. This happens every time I shoot a video. I get all kinds of phlegm in my throat, like a frog in my throat, every single time. And this doesn't happen unless I got the video camera turned on. So the river was going fast and high, and we got sucked into this one channel around this one island we didn't want to get sucked into. And it took us on a wild ride, and we couldn't control, we didn't lose complete control of the boat, but there were these overhanging branches on trees and stuff, and we got caught up in all that crap, and we were getting smacked by them, and there wasn't anything we could do about it. And it was just because the power of the river just decided, you're going this way, nothing you can do, just hang on for the ride. But we ended up getting to the finish of where we intended to get out of the river and got back in the car. It was, it was rather uneventful, but just seeing that tree just get ripped out of the ground like it was nothing. Like it was just, get out of here, tree, and tossed right in front of us. Like we're not even 5 minutes away, and that tree was right where we were camping. And so that you can definitely, and time-wise, to get, it was still fairly early in I wouldn't even say evening, we still had a few hours of daylight left, but you're getting at that point where, what are you going to do if you can't camp here? Where do you go from here? Like, it was kind of one of those things. And so definitely I was a little concerned when I saw that tree just get yanked out of the ground and taken downstream, like, like pulling weeds out of a garden, just yank, gone. And then my friend's like, where are we camping tonight? I'm like, well, you see where that tree just got yanked out? Yeah, well, that's it. That's the island. And so that was a little concerning. But honestly, it ended up fine. Everything was fine that night. Some good food, music, good time. Let's see, so back to the bike riding. So yeah, it hasn't flooded in Houston yet. We did get enough rain one day where the whole yard here where I live was completely underwater. But in some cases, probably like up, if I was wearing my waterproof boots, it would have been up over the ankle, pouring into the boots. And I was a little concerned that, because I had to ride my bike to work the next morning. This was a Sunday. I think this was the Sunday that I was doing that bike maintenance video, and it just kept raining the whole time. The next morning, I was a little concerned because I'm like, is this what I get to ride into work tomorrow? And I'm like, where am I? There's going to be places along my ride where the water might be 3 feet deep or something. There might be like some spots where I'm riding through a flood. But you know how these low-paying jobs... Now, these people at this bakery, they're awesome. They would not, if I called in and said, look, I'm flooded out, I can't get there, there would not be... It's not one of those jobs where, there's a blizzard and there's 15 feet of snow on the ground and they're like, why are you late? It's not like that at all. I would never want to give that impression. But I was still concerned that, I didn't know what was going to happen. By the time I left for work, the rain had stopped that night and the water had gone down substantially. And the roads were a little bit wet, but it wasn't like, it was a good ride in, so everything worked out. But speaking of the bakery, yesterday I prayed on my way in, the normal, take care of everybody there, watch over us all, keep us all safe, all that stuff, make the time go by fast. And so the first thing when I get there, I think in a previous video I mentioned that I woke up, it was on like the 5th of July, I woke up to find out I'm employee of the month. And they don't do this every month. There is no employee of the month every month. So I don't know like I don't know if they're going to do it every month or if it's just a once in a while thing. But I got this thing saying I'm employee of the month, and with this whole write up about how I'm awesome and all this other stuff, and I do a great job and I'm a hard worker and all these things. And I'm like, that was really cool to wake up to that. And so, but at the same time, we're all a bunch of clowns, and there's a few of us that really get into it with each other, like, you know, being smart asses and, you know, get back to work, you lazy whatever. And I'll be like, look, man, if you got time to clean, you got time to lean. Isn't that how the saying goes? And no, Adam, it's if you have time to lean and you got time to clean. And I'm like, why? You know, I like my version better. And, you know, we just go at it. We go at it all day long. And so being employee of the month, woof, that's like a shiny little badge on my uniform that I can be like, you know, that's no way to talk to the employee of the month now, is it? Right? And I'm just, and they're like, oh, I knew I shouldn't have given you that. You know, and we go back and forth. So I get there yesterday after my bike ride, and they're like, Adam, you can't open your gift until I'm there to see it. And I'm like, my gift? And wow, I'm already feeling like, cool, this was worth coming in today. And so I get changed, and I'm about to eat breakfast, and there's this bag on the table in the back room that says, Adam, thank you for being awesome, or something like that on this bag, and it's like a gift bag. And I'm like, all right. I am who I am, you know. And so I was talking about in the video on Friday, if I had a coffee mug in the morning, an insulated steel coffee mug that had like a Jesus prayer or something on it, because the first thing I do every morning is go for the coffee, that might remind me to say a prayer every morning, even especially on the days where I'm home and I just jump into the day and I don't even think about it and I forget to do it. So ironically, Friday night, I went and ordered 2 insulated coffee bottles from Amazon that have prayers on the side. They're spill proof, and I'm also going, reason I got 2 of them was because I've been every once in a great while, I'll take a big carafe insulated bottle of cold brew coffee to work, and I don't have another one to put like my homemade coffee creamer in. And so I'm like, well, if I get one of these insulated mugs, that would be the right size for the coffee creamer. But then if I take it to work, I'm not going to have it at home. So I bought 2 different ones. One of them is white with, I don't know, I think it's silver messaging on it. The other one's black with silver messaging. So the white one, I'm like, that's perfect for the coffee creamer. So I bought it specifically to be able to take it to my job. And so to be able to put coffee creamer in to take it with me to work. And then leave it there along with my big one. The one I usually use that, I have a really big one. It's like, I don't know if it's a half gallon, but it's at least 36 ounces, if not more. And so I usually drink lemon water with ice in that one. But I do, if I take cold brew to work, I'll put it in that because it's the biggest one I have. And they don't leak in my backpack. And so I was just like, it's just a nice thing to do, right? Take a little treat in for your people at work. It's not like I can carry a gallon on my backpack when I go in, but I can do this. And it's enough and between that and the bottle of coffee that I bring on my bicycle, that's enough if 2 people or 3 people at work want to have some cold brew that I brought, there's probably enough for 3 people to have a decent amount. And then if nobody else wants any, and I sit down to have a cookie break and I want to eat a big giant cookie, well then I can go to that. If I've drank all my coffee that I brought, I can go to that extra stash and have a little bit of coffee. So it's like, it's kind of a dual purpose. But if everybody else wants to drink it and leave me with none, that's fine, because I'm not necessarily bringing it for me. I'm just bringing it to share. So this means it's a 24 ounce. I can bring 24 ounces of coffee creamer that I made, the homemade stuff, and then I can bring, it's at least 36 ounces of cold brew. I don't know how big the thing is. I wish I know the brand, 32 ounce. It looks like it's a 32 ounce based on the photographs here. I'm gonna say it's 32 ounces, but it could be more. It's big. It looks even bigger than the ones in these pictures that I'm looking at on Amazon. I'm gonna say 32 to 36. I'm gonna say 36 ounce. It could be 40. It could be 40 ounce. 36, 40 ounces, 40 ounces. It might be 40 ounces. I'm not sure. I don't even know if it says on the thing. So anyway, I was talking about buying a coffee mug with a scripture on it to remind me to pray in the morning. And I kind of felt like I didn't want to do it. But then when I thought about like all other uses that I would have if I did, then I'm like, okay, I can justify it a little bit more if I have another reason to do it. You really can't have too many insulated water bottles and coffee mugs and things like that. Back before I was arrested, I had a cabinet full of these things: coffee mugs, bottles, insulated bottles, water bottles, all these kinds of things. They're great for, like, if you get the ones that seal really good and are leak proof, those are really good to take camping. They're more useful than just, I don't mind having more than one. So when I get to the bakery and I open up my gift bag, boom, I pull out, this is like right after I just bought 2 mugs on Amazon, and I can't cancel the order, but nor that I really need to, but boom, I pull out a 40 ounce tumbler, stainless steel tumbler out of the bag, boom, on the table. So now I've got another stainless steel insulated coffee mug with the logo on the side, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. I'm like, that I was just laughing because it's a little bit too much coffee. That would be a little bit dangerous if I put my coffee in that in the morning, but nonetheless, that would remind me to say my prayers. Because I just said this the night before. Then I go into the bakery and here's a tumbler, a stainless steel tumbler sitting there, spill proof, leak proof, the whole thing, a big one. And I'm like, well, this actually works out, because now if I bring my big tumbler full of cold brew and I leave it there, then I come home and I can use this one they just gave me for my lemon water. And so I can drink my water with lemon and have my, I'll still have a big tumbler to drink ice water with lemon out of. And so that's awesome. That's great. And then inside the bag, I was about to throw the bag out. They're like, Adam, you need to look in the bag. You need to take everything out of the bag. And I'm like, oh, cool. There's a card in there. And it had a nice message, thank you for being so cool and, so freaking awesome. You're so incredibly awesome. We're so thankful. All that stuff, right? And there was a little gift card for Chick-fil-A in there for like $25. And I go to Chick-fil-A every morning. I go in there on my bike. Since I started riding these long distance rides, the 20 to 25 mile bike rides, I grab breakfast at Chick-fil-A on the regular. And so they gave me a gift certificate for Chick-fil-A so I could get my breakfast. And I'm like, that's like 2 weeks worth of breakfast, depending on what I get. It's either 1 week's worth of breakfast if I'm hungry, or 2 weeks worth of breakfast if I'm not so hungry when I get there, but I just need something in my stomach. Because if I don't eat before I start a shift on the days that I'm biking in like that, within an hour or two, I'm gonna be ravaged, and it's gonna be bad in terms of like what I might do. And so I'm already gonna eat a giant cookie or a cheesecake or some other thing. I made cookies and cream cheesecake this weekend. And so I tried a little bit. Oh shoot, I even had one I was supposed to take home and I forgot it. And I knew I was gonna forget it. But anyway, I'll hear about that tomorrow morning. But anyway, it'll be good to go with my breakfast tomorrow. But that was nice to come into work to that. And the day it was completely dead. There was no business at all coming in the door. It's the most unpredictable business I've ever seen in my life. You never know when it's going to be busy and when it's not. So they were sending people home, and they asked me if I wanted to go home. And I'm like, see, the thing is, if you ask me if I want to go home, the answer is yes. I don't want to work today. But is it worth me going on a 50-mile bike ride to work 2 hours and go home? I'm like, so it's the way I say it to them. I'm like, look, I'm like, if you want me to go home, if you need me to go home because, you know, we have to send you home, I'm not going to get mad and cry about it. But if I ride my bike all the way here, then I'm committed to working all day, because it doesn't make sense for me to go home and, you know, only work 2 hours, 3, 4 hours, whatever. And so it's kind of like, they did send, some people were like, I want to go. And so like the people who volunteered to go home, people who didn't even want to come in that day, they left. And the rest of us, they're like, well, if you got time to lean, you got time to clean, right? So I got into cleaning mode and did some cleaning for the rest of the day. But before I knew it, it was 3 o'clock and my one coworker left. And in the blink of an eye, it was 4:30 and time for me to go home. And it went by fast. And on a day like that where there's nothing to do, it can go by really slow, but the prayer, just make the day go by fast, God, it worked. Today, I would like God to make the time go by slow. Like, can you make this day go by really slow so that I can enjoy my day off? But yesterday it stormed. It didn't rain at the bakery, but I was checking the radar throughout the day, and they were getting storms all around us. When I left the bakery, the sky was like black as night in this one direction, but it wasn't the direction of me going home. And so I was kind of like, because things come out of nowhere here. So on my way home, it was bright and sunny, but just off to the side, the sky was black as night from the clouds. And you knew they weren't having a good day. But I'm going south, southwest, southeast, and these are like northeast, and the wind is blowing away from the way. I was in a headwind a lot of the way home, or a crosswind, and I was like, this is fine, just blow all that over there. So at one point it did rain, but it was like a sprinkle again. So this guy Dave, who told me when I said that Jesus doesn't like me riding in the rain, so he always makes it stop raining so I can go on my bike rides. And then Dave got all mad and was like, what about the kids that die from cancer, Adam? You don't think God... And I'm like, well, the kids still died from cancer, but Adam didn't have to ride in the rain. So I don't know. You make out of it whatever there is to make out of that. I'm just giving you the facts. And once again, Dave, so I told in the video, I said to Dave, I said, hey, why don't you pray for it to storm and drench me when I'm out on my bike ride, and I'll pray to stay dry, and we'll see who God likes more. And so yesterday it must have been another battle between me and Dave praying about the rain, because it wanted to rain on me, but it just didn't. And then it started to rain on me, but I was like, I'm not even going to pull my waterproof cover out of the backpack, because it's kind of sprinkling, and it was just a very light rain. And I was like, it's going to stop. And so once again, for about 20 minutes it rained, but it stopped, and my feet didn't even get wet. Like that's the line that I will mark it down as a rainy ride if at the end of the ride my socks are wet and my feet are wet. And that's happened twice, and it's been 153, 4, 5, at least almost 160 bike rides this year. 2 times I've had wet feet where I had to change my socks. Twice. The rest of the time, it may have rained a little bit, but I didn't get wet. It's a big difference. I will count it as a rainy bike ride if my feet get wet. If my feet stay dry, it's more like going through one of those misters at the zoo. You go out to the zoo and it's 110 degrees outside, and they've got the fans with the mist blowing at you. That's kind of what it's like when you're on a bicycle ride and it's sprinkling on you. It was like having an air conditioner turned on for the whole ride home. And then when it stopped raining, it was like riding through the jungle, because you could just see the steam coming off the bike trail, and it was just this cloud of steam and funk in the air. But it wasn't like, I don't care about the heat. I just don't. I have not one time since I've been in Houston said, man, it's too hot out here. It can't be. I don't know. I'm old. People move to Florida when they get old. They don't go from Florida to New York when they get old. They go from New York to Florida. And there's a reason for that. I know why. Because now I'm old and I'm here in Houston. So I rode home in the rain, but by the time I got home it was sunny again. And I had some spots on my bike ride where I was fast, but overall it was a little bit, I was worn out when I got home. And so I got home from riding my bicycle 50 miles to watch a bunch of dudes ride their bicycle, the Tour de France. Stage 5 was where I had left off, which is the time trial. It's a 20-mile time trial. Time trial is where each rider starts a minute apart, 2 minutes apart, and they're riding individually. And that's now the time differences are starting to add up. It separates out the riders that are really close to each other, because each rider is riding by themselves against the clock. And so that they put that in there. So the Tour de France is just a bunch of different races and events all over the country of France over a period of 23 days, 21 days of which they race, and they get 2 days off. So this one guy gets up, his name is Remco Evenepoel, and he is the world time trial champion. And this guy flew through that course. Like, as soon as he left the starting gate, I was watching him. I'm like, there's your winner right there. And they've got some really goofy looking helmets this year for these time trials. some of them that look like a big penis on top of their head, and then the other ones look like Dark Helmet in the movie Spaceballs. I mean, they just look goofy. Like, if they gave me the Spaceballs helmet to wear in a bike race, I would want a face mask. I would want the dark helmet face mask to go with it, so that I can just pull off the look. Because it's either I'm going to look like Dark Helmet and Spaceballs, or I'm going to look like a penis going down the road, and I'd rather look like the guy from Spaceballs than a penis. But this guy, Remco Evenepoel, he had a normal looking helmet. Like a classy, normal looking helmet. Like, this dude was like, no, I'm not wearing a purple helmet so I can look like a penis going down the road. You give me a normal looking helmet, or fuck this shit. I'm not doing it. He won the time trial. He's the only dude in a normal looking helmet. It still had aerodynamics and stuff, but he's the only dude not wearing either a fucking Spaceballs or a penis helmet. And he won the race. So that proves that those fucking penis helmets aren't really worth it. It's not worth looking like a total retard going down the road because you didn't win. And so, but at the end of the day, the guy who came in second place in the time trial, his name is Tadej Pogačar. And he's won the Tour de France already 3 times in his life, not in a row. There's another guy, I forget his name. He's this goofy looking dude. His name is, I don't even care. I think he looks like he's got a basement at his house with a bunch of little kids tied up when he gets done with the Tour de France. I'm not rooting for that guy. This guy, Tadej Pogačar, is like, the thing with the Tour de France and bike racing is that when somebody wins the Tour de France, they're probably going to win it a bunch of times, because a lot of being able to win that race is just due to genetics and cheating, but a lot of it's genetics. And so to be able to win that race, if you have some sort of genetic superiority, like your heart pumps better, or your body processes muscle lactic acid faster, or whatever. If you have some sort of physical advantage over the other riders, you might win year after year after year. And so the whole time, especially the modern Tour de France from like 1960 on, you will see that the same people win over and over and over until they retire, because they just have this genetic advantage. And another reason is because a lot of cyclists at that top level, they train specifically and only to win that race. But it's like, it's like the Super Bowl. It's the Super Bowl of cycling. And, but this guy, Tadej Pogačar, he's young. He's really young. And so he could win 8. I don't think he's even, I don't know. He's in his early 20s. Lance Armstrong won his last tour. He was in his late 30s, I believe. I can't remember how old. I don't remember the ages. You can look it up. I'm not gonna right now. But this guy, Pogačar, could keep winning and winning and winning and winning and winning. So, and he's just early in his career, and he's already won the Tour de France 3 times. And he's the favorite again to win this year. The other guy who is the favorite won the Tour de France twice. I can't even remember his name. Jonas Vingegaard. And the thing with these people's names, I probably didn't pronounce it right. That's how it's spelled. But you'll hear 5 different commentators pronounce someone's name 5 different ways. So nobody knows how to pronounce any of these names unless it's like Lance Armstrong. Easy. Tadej Pogačar, not so easy. And this other dude, his name, they pronounce his name so many different ways, I have no fucking idea who they're even talking about half the time. But anyway, it's fun to watch. One of the most famous cyclists of all time, his name was Eddie Merckx. And he was just a dominator. He was just a dominator in the race. And so there are four, how do we put this? There are 4 jerseys in the Tour de France. There's basically 4 main competitions going on at once. You've got the yellow jersey, which is the leader of the overall race. You've got a green jersey, which is the leader of the sprint competition. The mass finishes on flat stages where they're all just trying to be across the line first. Usually the people that win the overall tour don't compete for that green jersey and probably couldn't even win it because they're not that fast for sprinting all out. A lot of the sprinters that win that green jersey, they're the track cyclists. They're the ones that go to the Olympics and win gold medals on the cycling track, because you need it's a different kind of fitness to win those races than it is to win the endurance race, which is the yellow. The yellow is basically the endurance jersey, the overall pain. Green is short bursts of power. You can go 50, 60 miles an hour on flat land on your bicycle because you're so strong, but you can only do it. It's like the sprinters in the Olympics. What's his name? Usain Bolt doesn't do the 2-mile track races. He does the 100-yard dash and shit like that. And then you've got the polka dot jersey, which is the king of the mountains. So that's the hill climbing jersey. Every time there's a steep hill, you get points for being the first one to the top of the hill. And so typically, and then the 4th jersey is the young rider. So up to age 22, 23, I don't know what the age cutoff is, but the white jersey means that you're the leader of the young riders. And so Tadej Pogačar, after the time trial yesterday, he got 2nd place in the time trial, but he got the yellow jersey, then he got the green jersey, and he's got the polka dot jersey. He's got all 3 of those jerseys on the same guy. So you can win all of them. You could win. He's too old to get the white jersey, but he has won the Tour de France and also won the white jersey to go with it because he won it when he was young. And if you're the winner and you're also wearing the white jersey, well, you got the white and the yellow now. So Eddie Merckx is one of the racers who, that dude would clean up. He would go to the Tour de France and take all the jerseys. He'd just be like, no, I don't want anybody else to be wearing any of these jerseys but me. And so there are different rules about, like, so today on stage 6, since Tadej Pogačar is wearing all 3 of those jerseys, whoever is going to wear the actual jersey in the race, it will be, there's a bunch of rules about, like, okay, so the second place in the King of the Mountains will wear the polka dots today, and the 2nd place in the sprint competition will wear that jersey today, etc. But Tadej Pogačar is the 5th person in the history of the Tour de France to wear all 3 of those jerseys at the same time. So this isn't something easy to do. But the only reason he's got all 3 jerseys is because he kind of was in the right place at the right time to get points. But his strategy is not to... When you're going for the yellow jersey, you're really not, especially in today's race, you're not trying to get those other jerseys. If he was competing to try and keep that green jersey for the sprint, he would be risking a broken collarbone in a crash. So usually the people who want to go for the yellow jersey, they stay further back. And they're not going after all those little points because they don't want to go flipping over their handlebars and break their bones and be out of the race. They try to play it safe. But Eddie Merckx, he didn't give a fuck. He won the Tour de France in 1974. In 1974, Eddie Merckx won the Tour de France, won the green jersey, and won the polka dot King of the Mountains jersey, and he won the individual time trial. he cleaned that shit up. And so I forget how many times did he win the Tour de France? He won the Tour de France 5 times, so that's up there with the 1969, 70, 71, 72, and 74. So there's only 3 other riders that have done 5 wins in the Tour de France. Lance Armstrong got 7, but they don't count him anymore. 7 in a row. And then he retired, and then he came back and got 3rd place. Or 2nd place, or I think it was 3rd. He was on the podium when he unretired and came back. He could have won again. But he was racing for somebody on a team. So he wasn't, him and the other person on the team went back and forth, and then the other person that he was helping got in trouble for doping and lost his Tour de France yellow jersey because the whole thing is crazy. It's fun to watch. If you know, it's less boring to watch if you know all the little ins and outs of the sport. Because to most people, it's just dudes riding down the road on bikes and nothing's happening. But if you know all these little tidbits. So yesterday when I watched the time trial winner, he's now wearing the white jersey. Remco Evenepoel. I mean, he just cleaned up on that. You could watch him right from the first 3 pedal strokes of that time trial and knew he was going to win it. He was flying. He was going, he was hitting 60 miles an hour on some of the stretches. And they're not even talking about this guy as actually being a contender to win the overall race. They think he's just going to fall apart in the mountains, which that may be the case. He's a time trial. He's the world time trial champion and the Olympic time trial champion and some other, he's got a trophy case full of medals and prizes and cash. So to be the last place guy in the Tour de France, you're still going home to a house full of trophies and medals and all kinds of accomplishments because you can't get into the Tour de France without being the elite of the elite. And it's like, you're talking about fewer than 200 people at the start line. You're the best of the best. Like, okay, so there's this guy from America. His name is Quinn Simmons. Dude looks like he looks like he was on tour with Metallica, like maybe a roadie or something, and took a break from going on tour with Metallica to ride his bike in the Tour de France. He's got this big long mane of heavy metal hair, the Fu Manchu mustache. He ain't worried about aerodynamics with the hairdo going like this in the wind. And he's got this jersey because he's like the national sprint champion or some shit. And he's got like a giant American flag on his jersey. You cannot miss this guy in the crowd at all. And so I'm always rooting for him. I'm like, America! Fuck yeah, whenever I see him. But his job for his team is to be a pace setter. So he's always at the front of the race every day, but he's riding at the front of the race to make it easier for the teammate that he's supporting to conserve energy. So he gets wiped out at the end of the day. He gets his teammate almost to the finish line without having to work very hard, and then he just kind of goes, all right, you guys go. That's his job. And so today, stage 6 I'm watching now, it's a very hilly course, not mountains, but hill and hill and hill and hill and hill. It's kind of like riding across Pennsylvania through the middle of the state. This guy, Quinn Simmons, gets in a breakaway with another couple of riders, and they get to the first King of the Mountains climb where you can get points for the King of the Mountains, and here's fucking Metallica guy in the front. And I'm like, no fucking way, because you wouldn't expect it from this guy. And he gets to the top of the first hill climb first, and I'm like, Man, that would be funny to be standing on the side of the road being like, yeah, America! Fuck yeah! Like if you could be there to yell that when Heavy Metal America guy goes by wearing this big fucking flag jersey, that dude would probably start laughing so hard that he might fall off his bike. Because he's not expecting that. Because there are not many fans for America on the roads of France. You're kind of a lonely guy right now, especially now after Lance Armstrong and Floyd Landis and the fact that America proved that we're the best cheaters in the world and all of that. But this guy got King of the Mountains points today at the top of that hill climb, and I was like, fuck yeah, it was fun. I wanted to see this guy do something. I want to see him win a stage. I want to see him get something. I want to see him go home with some sort of trophy or a medal or whatever. Because there's cash and prizes all day long in the Tour de France. Every day, all day long, cash and prizes, cash and prizes, cash and prizes, fame, recognition, cash prizes. It's nonstop. It's like hundreds of little competitions going on, even though the main competition is to be the winner, the yellow jersey at the end of the race. But they make it interesting by having lots of different contests and competitions going on throughout the thing. We have an American rider in 5th place right now. His last name is Jorgensen, but he's there to support some other guy. The other guy who's actually won the Tour, Vingegaard or whatever his name is. He won the Tour twice. So this guy from America is there to support him and to help him try to win again. But he's in 5th place right now because he had a good time trial yesterday or the day before, whatever day it was. But Metallica guy, he had a horrible time trial. He just had to ride the time trial to get, to not get kicked out of the race, but he didn't even try. And he's in 94th place right now, 22 minutes behind the leader in the overall standings. So he's got his only claim to fame could be winning a stage at some point. But today he got 2 points in the King of the Mountains race, and now he's 5th place in the King of the Mountains. But when they actually go to the mountains, the King of the Mountains is totally different. Because right now, every little hill climb, you get like 2 points or 1 point towards that race. But there's going to be mountains at some point where you get 20 points for the King of the Mountains jersey. So all the points you've earned up to that point can be wiped out in a single climb when they get to the actual mountains. So, but it's fun to watch the Tour of France this year because every single little point on these mid-race point finish lines are being contested as if it's like balls to the wall and everything's on the line. People are going crazy for all these little points. And they're like to the point where on the first day of the race, these two guys got into a shoving match with each other trying to get 1 point on the King of the Mountains climb that was in the race. And it was on a cobblestone street, and one of the guys lost control of his bike at the finish line and ran into the other guy, and they both crashed just to get this 1 point. And it didn't mean shit at the end of the day, but he was wearing the polka dot jersey on day 2 because of that. So, like, this is how... normally, during the Tour de France, a lot of these little points along the way, they just, whatever, go get your point or whatever. They don't... The race doesn't really get crazy for these little point grabs during the middle of the race. But this year, they're going berserk. Every little point that's on the line, they're going balls to the wall to get these points. And it's fun to watch. Like... Metallica guy fucking blasted up this not a mountain, but he blasted up this big hill to get 2 points. That might be the only thing this guy does the whole month in terms of getting on the board. But it was fun to watch. I mean, I would love to be on the side of the road going, yeah, America! When this guy comes. He looks like he's gonna go on tour with Pantera and be playing guitar side by side with Dimebag Darrell. You know, like that's what he looks like when he looks so different. You cannot. Not only does he look like heavy metal dude from the 80s, but he's got the fucking big giant America flag jersey, the most obnoxious jersey in this whole freaking race. It's funny as hell. But that's all we got. America don't got shit in that race this year. And so that covers my Tour de France. I am so slow right now on the bicycle that I'm 3 days behind the Tour de France watching it on TV now. Like, that's how slow I am. Let alone, I wouldn't even be able to... I would be dropped from the Tour de France and kicked out of the race on the first day because I wouldn't even be able to keep up with the group. Maybe. It's hard to say, but probably. It's totally different when you're riding with a group of people, how fast you can go. I used to race when I was growing up, especially in my teenage years, and let's say by myself I could average 20 miles an hour when I was in shape on flat land with no hills and just going, somewhere and back. In a group of 20 or 30 riders, we'd be hauling along at like 30 miles an hour and it wouldn't even feel like I was pushing that hard. The only thing that would separate out the group is when you get to hill climbs. And the hills have a way of weeding out the strong from the weak. But when you're riding on relatively flat land as a group, it's very easy to stay with the group in comparison. Your average, like if I went out on a group ride around Houston, my average speed would be way higher than it is when I go out by myself. But it's fun to watch. It's a fun race to watch, and just leave it at that. Let's see. So the updates on... I'll just stop the video with an update on the things yesterday, Friday, the washing machine being broke, not getting my rotisserie chicken, and my Amazon deliveries. Well, after I got done with the video, all of a sudden my Amazon deliveries started showing up, and everything that was supposed to be delivered on the same day got delivered. So I did get my fan. I got a couple other things. One of the things was a electronic, one of those tennis rackets for the bugs, the bug zapper, and that was a great purchase. The last couple of nights when the sun goes down, there's been some popping, and there have been no fruit flies, no more fruit flies at all. So that wiped out the fruit fly population. That and taking the trash out, but that thing did a good job. And I also have these little fruit fly traps. It looks like a little piece of fruit with stuff inside of it to trap them and kill them. And so that's doing a good job luring them, but I put it right next to the tennis racket bug zapper has a little stand, so you can just set it up and leave it turned on. And if a bug flies into that thing, you'll hear it. You might hear it in the video today. You'll hear pop. It's loud. It's a little bit, it catches you off guard sometimes, but I'm just going to leave it on. I haven't seen a single fruit fly since I plugged that thing in. And yesterday a couple of regular size flies got in here, and all of a sudden, pow, pow. Last night I heard pow, 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 and I'm like, gotcha. I didn't have to do nothing. Didn't have to do nothing. So that's good. Have an indoor bug zapper. That's a good thing down here in the South. So that's step 2 on pest control. I was gonna do something different with pest control this time around. I want to get the places sealed up where they can come in easily. But I figured the fruit flies were driving me crazy. And so they're gone. It's over. Game over for them. Next time I get paid, I'm gonna go. I've got a huge list of pest control to-dos, and I'm only gonna do one at a time. I got too many other things going on. With the washing machine, interesting. Amazon said that if the company that I bought it from wouldn't take care of me, that they would refund me anyway. And the company that I bought the washing machine from messaged me Friday night while I was watching the bike race, and we started going back and forth through the messaging, and they kind of acted crummy at first about just in terms of well, did you try this and did you try that and did you do this and did you do that other thing and blah blah blah. And I had already done all these things. So the answer was yes, 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 all the way across. And so there was nothing to do there. And so eventually they said, okay, we'll send you a refund. And so now the refund is on the way. And I already sort of kind of have another washing machine picked out. I'm going to try a different brand, but I think I have it kind of down to 2 different ones. And I've got them queued up in my Amazon cart. And so I don't want to get the same brand again. And one of them's on sale. So I don't want to get the same brand. And so the other ones from another brand are just a little bit smaller in terms of the capacity. Instead of saying 28 pound wash capacity, it says 20 or 21 pound wash capacity. But the one that I bookmarked last night, I took the measurements and I went into the bathroom. And so one positive outcome from this is I'm getting a refund. I'm just going to take that refund and buy another one. The one that I bookmarked last night was on sale, 10% off or something like that. And I think it's still on sale today. Yeah, 9% off. Okay, fine. And then there's another one from the same brand that's like 1 extra pound capacity. But I measured it, and I measured the space. This one should fit in the space that I wanted the other one to fit. That was because it's the same. I don't know if the capacity, 20 pounds, whatever, I don't know if that means much. Because the one that I'm thinking of getting is the same depth and the same height as the one I already have. It's 4 inches less wide. So it will fit in that space precisely. It should. It might not when it comes down to it, but it should fit in the space where I want it to fit without me having to, in the orientation that I wanted it to be in the first place. I don't know what I'm going to do with the one that I have that's broken. I kind of just want to throw it away. I might take the knobs off of it and some of the hoses and just anything that might be useful, because these things are all basically the same. They're probably made at the same China factory with a little bit different outer shell, but the parts inside are probably identical. So I don't know if it's worth keeping anything from the old. I don't know what to do with the old one. I don't have to ship it back. They're giving me a refund. I don't have to try. Shipping it back would be like $100. So they're just like, here's a refund, sorry. And so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get another one because I need this. I'm not gonna be going to the laundromat on a freaking bicycle carrying pounds of, carrying a giant bag of clothes every week. And wasting half of my day. Like, I would have to do it today. get a backpack together, go sit at a laundromat for 2-3 hours and come back. I'm not doing it. So it's worth it to try this again. But it might work out. I feel like the one I'm about to buy, I'm not even going to notice the difference in size or capacity. I think they're the same, to be honest. I think they just have a different size outer shell, and I don't think it's going to be any different. It's the same height, the same depth, 4 inches narrower. It's not going to be that much difference. There's another one that's available that's a little bit rated. It looks a little nicer, but I'm gonna measure it. It's like $20 more. It says it's got 1 pound more capacity. The spin cycle side looks a little nicer. In the photo, it looks bigger on the spinner side, which is kind of nice. But I mean, these things are all identical in terms of how they look and how they work. 25 inches wide. I think that's too wide. So I think I've already made up my mind which one I'm going to get to replace the thing with. But ideally, or what's the word? At the end of the day, it all worked out. If I order this thing today knowing that a refund is on the way, I can get the thing delivered sometime. The nicer one I can get by Wednesday here. And the other one, yeah, it's $15 more for the nicer looking one. I can get it here by Wednesday. The other one says July 18th through the 22nd, which is Friday through Tuesday. So either way, I'm not going to skip a beat when it comes to getting my laundry done. Instead of doing my laundry on Friday, I may have to wait until Tuesday, which kind of sucks because that's 2 weekends of bicycle ride. That will be a much bigger load of laundry. It will, having to cross over a weekend of cycling like that. That's why I do my laundry on Friday specifically, so that Saturday when I start the bicycle routine, I have all my clothes clean. So that could be a problem. But small problem. I mean, it's like, yeah, I have to do I won't have my bicycle shorts for the weekend. Maybe I can order, maybe that's the cue to order 2 more pair of bicycle shorts and have more padding in the old crotch. The bicycle shorts I've been wearing, I like. They're not my favorite, but for the rides I'm doing, they're doing okay. And they're not expensive. So I wouldn't mind having a couple extra pair of those. I've had much better bike shorts in the past, but these are definitely not bad. To have a couple of really nice pair of bike shorts and then a bunch of these other ones, that would not be bad at all. So I'm okay with, I would buy the same ones again. But maybe I could get those by the end of the week so that I can ride with padded shorts and then just do all my laundry on Tuesday or Wednesday, I don't know. But the laundry is going to be solved. And so here's the other thing. The less expensive of the 2 options, for the same amount of money that I'm getting back in the refund, I can get the washing machine and a 3-year protection plan on top of the price of the washing machine. So the fact that I had one go bad so fast and the manufacturer gave me a refund for that, it made me think, like, do I want to just cough up an extra $30 so that I have a 3-year protection on this thing, so that if anything goes wrong in the span of 3 years, even if it's my fault, they'll just give me a refund. I'll get an Amazon gift card for the amount that I spent on the thing. And I'll be able to apply that towards another one. And if it goes bad in the span of a month, like the last one did, then okay, not, I'll act, but I feel like the company did the right thing by giving me the refund, because I've used this thing for 5 weeks and it died like that. Worked fine. I had probably 2 or 3 more spin cycles to do, and it just stopped dead. And so that bothered me. But then there's 2 washing machines I'm looking at to pick from. But either way, I'm gonna get the 3-year protection plan, so that for the next 3 years, I'll be able to use this thing with the peace of mind that if it breaks, I'll be able to get a refund pretty much automatically. I don't usually do the protection plans, but like when I buy a computer, yes. If I buy a phone, absolutely. I would never buy a phone without the insurance on the phone, unless I just bought a used phone on Facebook or Craigslist or something like that and activated it on my plan. But if I buy a phone from the phone company, brand new, you damn right I'm getting the insurance on that, because I am going to drop the phone. It's not if I'm going to drop it, I'm going to drop that phone. There was one time I bought a brand new phone, a brand new top of the line Samsung phone, and I bought a case. I usually get the most rugged OtterBox case that they make, the Defender. And I went down a level to make the phone a little less bulky. And I was out on a hike, I dropped the phone, it hit a rock, shattered the screen, destroyed the phone. 3 days after I bought the phone, but I had the insurance on it, boom, had a new phone 24 hours later. I didn't have to pay any, 24 hours later, I didn't have to pay the deductible because I had gone so long without breaking a phone. I think if you go a certain amount of time, if you go without breaking a phone, you don't pay a deductible when they replace your phone on one of those plans. So I had gone a long period of time without breaking a phone on the plan, and so they just replaced the phone for free, quote unquote. You pay your monthly fee for the insurance, but that was like $1,000 phone. So $1,000 that you can just shatter by having slippery fingers one day, you gotta get the plan. You gotta have the protection plan on your phone, unless you buy a used phone for like a couple $100 and then you shatter it or whatever. And I always keep my phone in a protective case. The current phone that I'm using, I don't protect it as much as that, but I have put the glass screen protectors on it, and there's been twice that I've shattered the glass screen protector, and the phone itself was perfectly fine. I just had to pull off the glass screen protector. Right now I've got 2 screen protectors. That's one of my chores today, is replacing the screen protector on the phone, because I shattered the screen protector one day, and but the glass on the phone's perfectly fine. The phone looks brand new. So I just got to replace the screen protector today, and that takes a few minutes. So I'll be back to doing laundry. I might have some extra clothes next time I do laundry, depending on which one of these I order. One of them costs $15-20 more than the other, but if it doesn't fit in the space that I want it to fit in, I might have to buy the cheaper one just for that reason alone. but I have to look and measure and see. But they're all kind of junky in terms of their construction. There are some of these portable washing machines that are more like, they're not meant to be put in your bathtub. They're meant to be hooked up like a regular washing machine with an input hose and a drain hose that goes somewhere. But they're small. I would like to get one of those because they will do it'll be all automatic. I won't have to move clothes from one side to the other and to do the spin cycle and all that. But for this apartment, it would be a lot of work to hook one of those things up and hook it into the drain. Like, I could probably do it in the bathroom, get splitters for the water hoses, and I could probably tie it right into the sink drain to drain. But that's a lot of work, and I just need something that works out of the box. Drop it in the bathtub, use it, put it back when you're done. That works fine for me. And now that I've got this fan, I'm gonna do the clothesline a little bit different, and I'm just gonna put like 2 or 3 layers of paracord in a zigzag pattern around this room, and then just set the fan on oscillate. And all those clothes, when they come out of this thing, they're already so almost dry to the point where if I do it this way and use the fan in tandem, they're only gonna take an hour or 2 to dry. I might not even get a portable dryer at this point, because I think they may dry faster sitting in front of a regular fan than they would drying in a little portable dryer where I have to keep doing multiple loads in the dryer. And then the dryer is gonna make the room get warmer because it's going to run, the exhaust is gonna go right into the room from the dryer. And it's gonna have like this little lint catcher thing at the end of the exhaust hose that's meant for, using a dryer inside without a vent. And so I think getting a dryer is a mistake. So I'm not gonna get one. That's very, very, it's not even really a priority anymore. And if I look at my list of things I want to do to the house, the dryer was one of the things, I think. Yeah. Or no, is it? Yeah, I have a portable clothes dryer on the list of things that I wanted to do to the house here. And it's like, it's over $200. But I'm probably just not gonna do it, and that'll save money right there. And I can put that money towards the curtains. I need to get the curtains and an ironing board and an iron. And so I would rather have that than a dryer. And so I'm just kind of one step at a time, one thing at a time, one day at a time. I'm just living like that right now. And with that was the update on what happened with the washing machine. So I'll probably do a review on these portable washing machines in general and my experience with them, not just the ones I've owned, but the ones that I've seen used. But yeah, I gotta get off this video, and I gotta go out and try to do a couple of measurements and see which one of these washing machines I want to get next. And I'm pretty convinced I'm going to get the cheaper of the two. But the one that's a little bit more expensive looks like it might be a little better. But it's hard to say. It's hard to say from the pictures. But they're basically, it's almost the exact same thing I have, just another one. And with that, I'll just say peace out for now.